Hi guys. We're gonna I want to go through a little bit this EBAU exam, as if I were actually in the class with you, just because I want to go over some different things and to kind of show you just how to answer and find the information that you need for the EBAU. Okay, so as you guys have seen, you should have done a different guided tour, and you should have read the text. Okay, so the first question says, say whether the following sentences are true or false according to the text. Copy the evidence from the text. No marks will be given without the evidence. So you need to remember, as always, that you need to write both things. You need to do the two things to get any of the marks. The first that's really important is to make sure that you actually write in full and in English, true or false. Okay, and then the second thing is that you need to copy the evidence from the text. So our first question says, for the majority of tourists, a traditional guided tour goes to the places they want to see. Okay, so that basically means that the normal thing to do as a tourist is to go on a tour to go to the places that they want to look at. So you need to find if it's true or false. So first thing you need to do is go up to the text. Now, we are looking for information talking about the tourists, a guided tour, and a place that they want to see. Okay, so if you have a look here carefully, we have, of course, such tours are popular because most people want to see the same iconic sites. So here, this is the part. Oh, my bad. This is what I want. This is the part that you need to highlight. Okay, so you don't need of course, and I'll explain why. Okay, of course is extra information that doesn't give you any important, essential information. Okay, what you need to know is this part. So, such tours are popular because most people want to see the iconic sites. Iconic just is another word for most popular or the most well-known sites. Okay, so because you've got iconic sites, that gives you the clue. So, in this case, our answer is true. Okay, and you can either write line 6, which is this line after 5, or you can highlight the information. Okay, here's a tip. If you are not sure about how much information to include, then you can easily just write the line number, because that way you will have the words and the information included, but you don't have to write a specific bit of information. The second question, okay, the crash tour won't be of interest to people uninterested in finance. So here we're looking for something to do. So we know what a tour is, okay, because it's the same thing as a here, and it's talking about a type of activity that someone takes you on to see different parts of a city or interesting sites. So the crash tour is talking about something that people are uninterested in finance. So we're looking for something with money, because finance is to do with money, and the people that are interested in maybe banking or that kind of thing. So economy, okay? So we need to find something in our text that is talking about information about economic situation or finance. Now, if you look in this paragraph, here you can see that it's talking about, if we keep going a little bit more, looking here, focus on the economic crash in 2008. Okay, that led to all 3 of the country's main banks going bankrupt. Bankrupt means that there's no money left. Okay, they don't have any money, they go down to 0. So we have to find the information that is talking about and answering this question. So the question is, the crash tour won't be of interest to people uninterested in finance. So here it is saying, it is a fascinating tour, not only for those with an interest in finance, but for anyone who wants to find out about the country and its people. Now, this is where a lot of people make mistakes. So what you want to do is only highlight the information that is given you for that question. So it is a fascinating tool. You need this bit of information because it's asking about being interested. Okay, so interest, another word for interest is fascinate. So something fascinates you, it means that you're interested in it. Okay, and it's talking about people that are uninterested in finance. So here it says not only for those with an interest in finance, but for anyone, blah, 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 blah. Now, all you really need is this bit of the information, because you already have shown that not only for people with interest in finance, which then means that anybody else is interested. So you don't need to add any more information for it to be clear. Okay, so in this case, our answer would be false. And again, if you're not sure about the lines, or you're not sure about the information that you can include, then we just put line 13 to 14. Okay, well, in this case, lines 14 to 15. Okay, so 11, 12, 13, sorry, 10. Okay, so my bad, actually, sorry, 13 to 14. Okay, next one. If you take the tour in Prague, you can be sure that you will be led by someone who is currently homeless. So here we're looking at something where we're talking about homeless people in Prague. Okay, so the main paragraph that we're talking about is talking about somewhere in Prague. Now it's talking about people doing tours, so tour guides, who will definitely be sure that they are going to be currently homeless. So we're talking, the main key point here is currently, which means now. So they have to be homeless at the moment. Okay, so here we're looking for some information. So we need to find the word homeless, we need to find the word guide, anything to do with giving a tour. So it says, in Prague, where the main square and Charles Bridge can become almost impassable in the summer owing to the large numbers of visitors, you can book a tour of some of the city's less visited spots, all of which are led by people who have, at one time or another, been homeless. So, this is what we need to highlight. Okay, I'm going to go with the yellow. So, all of which are led by people who have, at one time or another, been homeless. Now, that doesn't mean that they are homeless now, because at one time or another could be in the past, or 3 months ago, yesterday, or they could still be now homeless, but it doesn't actually mean that they are currently homeless. So this one again would be false. And again, if you're not sure of the line or the information, you can put 18. Now, one thing that's really important, which I've obviously made a mistake in, is you need to write the line and then the number. Okay, if you don't put the line and the numbers, it is wrong. You can't just put the number. Okay, right. Now we've got that, so we've got true, false, false, and we have our 3 bits of main information. If you don't have the information, you cannot get the mark. Now, moving on to answer exercise 2. So here we have answer the questions below. Copy no more than 10 words or a number from the text to answer each question. So again, this is information that's taken directly from the text. Make sure you look and are very clear and you take into account no more, I'll put it all in bold, no more than 10 words. So you cannot have more than 10 words in these answers, otherwise you will lose the mark straight away. So, why do locals prefer not to eat in the restaurants that tourists visit? So we're going to look back in our text and we're looking for reasons that give us this information. So here we have the information. The only other customers are, like themselves, visitors from overseas. As locals know, they can eat better food much more cheaply elsewhere. So again, we're going to highlight. I'm going to highlight different colours so it's clear for you guys. Okay, so Here we go. They can eat better food much more cheaply elsewhere. We don't need to write locals because this they already is referring to the locals, okay? And it's talking about the fact that they can eat much better food cheaply in a different place. So that's why they prefer not to eat in restaurants that tourists visit, because generally when tourists go on holiday, the people that work in restaurants know that they're tourists and they charge much more money. Okay, so that's the answer to this one. And as you can see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. We have 9 words, so it's under 10, so it's perfect. Right, what has caused new tour companies to spring up? Okay, so what is the reason? So spring up basically just means to be created, okay? So what is the reason that new tour companies exist, basically? So we need to find some information that shows why there are new tour companies being created. So here, can you see, you have some information. So a new type of our tour company is springing up since some people want to discover hidden secrets rather than famous landmarks. So this is your answer, okay? So some people want to discover hidden secrets rather than famous landmarks. They prefer to go somewhere different than the generic famous places that many people visit. Now, we've found our answer, but do we have less than 10 words? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Okay. Now, can you see the issue? We have 11 words, but we're not allowed to use any more than 10. So, how can we make this smaller? You need to then find the most important information. So, instead of using some, we'll just use people. People want to discover hidden secrets rather than famous landmarks. And now we should have 9 words. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Or 10, which is fine, okay? We can use 10 words. Now, what does the writer say about the effects of visiting areas that are more local? So this one is a little bit more difficult, okay? So we've got to find some information about this. So if you look down here, we've got some information. So while such tours are popular, they do not attract sufficient numbers of tourists to transform the areas they visit into overcrowded tourist sites. So here is where our information is important to find. So we're going to highlight this bit. As you can see, there's definitely more than 10 words. Okay, but that's where we're going to start. So we're going to start here. Right, so reread our question. What does the writer say about the effects of visiting areas that are more local? So more local means that they are less touristy. So it's where more the normal people live and where tourists don't visit. So what is the problem? Or what is the effect that's going to happen if this happens? So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. So you can see we've got 18 words and we can only use 10. So we need to remove 8. So they do not attract sufficient numbers of tourists to transform the areas. So this is what we do not need. So we're going to remove this, okay? Because yes, it has important information, but it's not the most concrete information that we need, okay? What we need is this information. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Can you see again? We've now got 12 and we need to remove 2 more words. So this is where it gets difficult because you're now thinking, okay, what do we need to do now? Okay, so in that case, we're going to finish off with this then. So they do not attract sufficient numbers of tourists. Okay, so we've removed a lot of information, but the most important bit of information are these words. So that's 2, 4, 6, that's 8 words. We've narrowed it down from 18 to just 8. Okay, and it does give you the information. They do not attract sufficient numbers of tourists. Okay, so what does the writer say about the effects of visiting areas that are more local? So they don't attract enough tourists, because at the end of the day, tourists want to go to the most famous parts of a place. Okay, so that's a little bit of a walkthrough for exercises 1 and 2. Stay tuned and we'll go through the next part of the activity. Okay, so exercise 3, this is where you need to obviously write your synonym, an opposite, a definition, or a sentence for each of the following words. Now, I do suggest that when you write a definition or a sentence, you are careful, because any grammatical problem or error will be counted as incorrect. So it's very important that if you do write a sentence or a definition, you write it correctly. Okay? Now, again, remember in this part, you are writing a synonym or an opposite or a definition or a sentence based on the meaning of these words, but from the meaning and the context of the text itself. Okay, so number 1, we have spot. Okay, and we need to go to line 1. So spot is here. We're going to go with that as green. Let's make it green. Oh, okay. I'm going to make it green so it's a little bit clearer. Okay, so you can spot groups of sightseers following a guide. Okay, so we're talking about here seeing people, all right, looking at or noticing. So let's go down to our exercise here. So I'm going to write a synonym. Now, another thing that's really important that you need to know, spot is a verb, to spot. This is in the infinitive, okay? It is not in the ing, okay? It is in the infinitive. So whatever I write here has to be the same type of grammar structure. So I'm going to write notice, all right? So my meaning of spot, the same to notice, okay? If you notice someone, you are spotting them. Now, if this was ing, then I would have to write noticing in the same type of grammatical structure, okay? As it is not, as it is in spot by itself, infinitive, then my synonym is going to be notice, okay? Let's do a definition, for example, okay? So a definition of spot. So we now know that it means to be seen, so to detect or to notice something or someone, okay? Again, your definition, you need to write in the infinitive, to detect or to notice something or someone, okay? Let's give you a sentence so you can have a look to get an idea. I was able to spot him easily in the crowd. Okay? Again, can you see I have put the infinitive because we need to keep everything that we do in the infinitive. Okay? This is super, super important for you guys because you can definitely lose marks by doing this incorrectly. Okay. Let's try springing up. So, springing up is line 7. Now, line 7, we have noticed it here. So, we're going to put this in green so you can see. Springing up. Now, again, this is very important. Okay, so springing up is in the ing. Now, I mentioned before that it's talking about creating or appearing, okay? So we're gonna okay, never mind. So for example, down here we're gonna put a synonym. So a synonym could be appearing, okay? So again, can you see the difference between here we've got a definition, a synonym with an infinitive, and here we have the gerund, okay? Because here as well, it ends in ing, so this has got to be in the ing. If it's not in the ing, it will be incorrect, okay? So, let's try definition. I'll try definition, see if that works as well. So, definition of springing up. So, suddenly appearing or developing, for example. Okay, again, can you see we have to use the ing because here it's in the gerund. All right, let's try a sentence. Thousands of new businesses are springing up all over the world, for example. Okay, again, have a look. Okay, it's a verb and we have to use the gerund. So here we have the gerund in the sentence. Okay, I hope that's clear. Right, impassable. So go to line 16. Let's see if we can find this information. So where is impassable? Oh, right, here we are. So line 16, impassable. So this is a word that potentially some of you don't know. Okay, so here's where you have to use your capacity of your brain and to kind of understand from the context of the paragraph. So, in Prague, where the main square and Charles Bridge can become almost impassable in the summer owing to the large number of visitors. Right. If you have a large number of visitors in summer on a bridge, what could happen on that bridge if you're walking? Okay, so impassable basically means to be blocked. Okay, to be blocked because there's too many people. All right, so impassable means you cannot go, you cannot move, you cannot pass. Okay, so our synonym would be block. Okay, so impassable, block. Although it's going to be in the past tense. Okay, so if something's impassable, it is blocked. Okay, to be impassable, to be blocked. All right. So let's go with a definition. All right, definition. So impossible to travel or to move on. Okay, again, so this realistically is this, to be blocked. Okay, to be impassable. Okay, something is impassable, so it's the infinitive. So again here, as you can see, we have the infinitive. All right, again, when we're using a verb that's supposed to be, which means the same, it's got to be in the infinitive. All right, I'll give you a sentence again so you can see. Again, can you see that you need to write these out? So if it's a synonym, you need to write equals. If it's a definition, you need to write definition. If it's a sentence, you need to write a sentence. Okay. So the roads are impassable. Let me think. The roads are impassable this week due to a tree falling over, for example. Okay, the roads are impassable this week due to a tree falling over. All right, here you are able to change it slightly. Okay, so the roads are impassable this week due to a tree falling over. All right, now let's have a look at sufficient. So sufficient in number 21. Okay, so here we have sufficient. So we're going to highlight that so you can see. So while such tools are popular, they do not attract sufficient in numbers. So we're talking about numbers and we're talking about they're not attracting. So what could sufficient mean? Well, it basically means enough. All right, there's not enough people. Okay, sufficient, suficiente. All right, so enough people. Now, here we have the option to also put in a opposite. Okay, so an opposite would be just going to copy that because I can't find it on my thing. So an opposite would be, the opposite of sufficient is insufficient. All right, so here we go. Here's your opposite. So that could be also accepted. So enough, insufficient. All right, let's give you a sentence. I'm going to give you a sentence for this one. We didn't have sufficient time to finish the exam. Okay, so here, as efficient and sufficient are nouns, we don't need to change it because it doesn't get changed. All right, so we didn't have sufficient time to finish the exam. Okay, so I hope that helps.